Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to today's edition of Beyond the Ordinary Show. And y'all, we have a very special call today. We have Shannon Pardini, who has become a dear friend and sister, and the resonance of the consciousness that she brings through. It's so exciting for me. And I've experienced sessions where I've experienced the modality and the expression of that modality that's uniquely hers. And it's potent and it's an invitation into awakening more of consciousness, not from a triggered response, but from really stepping into a mastery that is innate within you. And today, Shannon's going to go deeper with all of us into one of the many gifts that she possesses and how she guides anyone who wants to show up for clearings and up levelings with her. But we're talking about the unleashing the power of hypnosis. So I'm going to talk how to release old distortions within the body, how to release limiting beliefs, how to release hard-wired patterns, and so much more. And that's with that introduction. Shannon, welcome back to BTO.
Hi. Thank you for having me. And yeah, I just love where our friendship is growing and appreciate you. I really love what you've been bringing through. And it's just so nice that we can share the different gifts and let them intertwine. And it's opening up so many doors. And truly, it's like, I know we're all getting past the clearing and patterns part, but this physical body is just so intriguing. And so coming together, sharing the gifts and attunements, and really allowing the DNA to show itself and
Mhm.
unfold is a lot of fun. So I thank you for allowing me to come forth. And again, I just learned so much from you. So I appreciate you, John.
Yeah, we do that for each other, and we all do that for each other, y'all here in community in this way. So would you give everybody a little bit of background of how you've come to these powerful hypnoses and what it is that's uniquely coming through your education, your experiences, and your connection into into other intelligences, other consciousness.
Yeah, of course. Where to begin, right? Well, it's the journey, and I've been on this ascension journey really deeply in exploration, over the last decade. For me, ascending the body and knowing it intricately and holding fields that have conscious intelligence is where my passion is at this point. And how I got there really was the unfolding of, I've been in the shamanic community, I've been in the Reiki community, having all different types of attunements since I was really young, got initiated in deep, advanced yoga teaching practices, and so that scalar field was always there, right? There was always a field of frequency intelligence that was always vibrating through me, right? And creating a field, and it couldn't be denied. And so, through these different types of modalities, work, and just different cultures that I got to sit with in all types of attunements, I took what worked in each and every one of them and I packed my tool belt and just continued to redefine what was possible within creating momentum that can completely eradicate, dis-ease and heal humans. And we all innately know that within our technology of our body, it is so wise. Each and every one of us has this deep, profound sense that we can self heal, and we can because, again, the body doesn't need to heal. It's already waiting for us to ignite these dormant technologies. So, again, so moving through my path, I've had different experiences of touching upon that source frequency. And that's what led me to start building out and facilitating the hypnosis. It didn't really come around till later, maybe like 2019, because I took myself through a year of putting myself through hypnosis 8 hours a day. I got to a point where I felt enough is enough of the chemical reaction within the body. Enough is enough of limited thinking, right? Or, whether it was anxiety or depression, something set me off at that time where I'm like, I'm going for it. And that's what I did. I got so I wouldn't say addicted. I was just there. I was putting myself through these fields and I would let my body show me how it was patterning. I would let my body show me the vibratory rate of what that particular frequency was, whether it was victim or, really deep, deep limited beliefs. And I would let my body completely shake from these fields, even if I was in fetal position. But I was just really learning how the body itself and the organs and the way that it functions was holding these frequencies in different hertz, right? And so within a year that I started practicing on friends and family and I was just seeing huge shifts. But I was also being able to start um, naming what the scalar fields were of intelligence. It was just getting clear to me the different fields that I was using through my physical body to go in and investigate. I would learn the matrix frequency from its density and the way it vibrates. And then I would take my body to a field where it's no space, no time, but it's holding a very innate consciousness of source. And I would apply it and it would eradicate the frequency. Does that all make sense? So
Mhm.
I took myself through a year of this, and then I just kept creating, the different fields that I would take in to trace the pattern that was causing dis-ease or a limited belief that keeps creating a looping pattern of chemical sensation. And then I just follow and what like watch within the body and the guidance to bring in a higher field and hold it till the body mimics it and then it dissipates the frequency and I can see how the flow state starts moving.
Hmm. How does hypnosis play into that?
Because when I'm going into these states, it's always important to get into a very neutral 0 point container of theta brainwave state. So when I'm bringing in someone or even myself, I get to a space of creation where the body is in a very neutral field where it's gentle awareness, right? Where then we can go in and not chase, trace the vibrational patterns, starting from a limited belief and then taking it deeper, right? Because that limited belief within someone is very multidimensional. It could have different distress, emotions, feelings, or just survival chemical to it. So I just start tracing all these little frequencies in gentle awareness, but where that starts is taking someone into theta brainwave state. So they can just be in a place of a 0 point, but feel it without getting triggered by what they're feeling, sensations, and so forth, and going deeper and deeper within the physical anatomy.
Okay, that makes sense. And there's a few questions I want to get into. Y'all, we're going to get into Q&A with Shannon also because I want you to experience a little bit of what might happen during a personal session with her because that's part of the special offer. And there's a small group container also um, that she's guiding everyone into participates in that special offer. We'll get to that later. But if you want to ask your personal questions and experience some of this transmission, raise your hand or type your questions into the chat box, and we'll get into that a little bit later. So, Shannon, how do we start to apply what you're sharing with us so that we can release distortions in the body?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, first it's becoming aware of how we are basically interpreting, right, our daily experience.
Mhm.
We're all always looking to identify, well, humans are always looking to identify everything, right? And through our programming within the physical body, it's identifying through different limitations and limited beliefs. And so, number one, if we're having any type of distress or chemical sensations, right, where the fire signals are being sent, the cortisol, different feelings that the body, it's an indicator that we're going outside of ourselves, trying to identify in something that's already programmed within our body. And so that programming is coming from a very limited matrix uh, perspective. But by us doing that and creating the chemical sensation, number one, that's the first place we can be aware of is anytime we are identifying through our mind or ego and we're pulling in information and we're immediately triggered, right there is a first step to stepping back, taking gentle awareness to realize, okay, I just hit some programming in my body. I just
Mhm.
hit some limitation there.
And to be very clear, y'all, by a chemical response, you can think of it as an agitation in the body. It can be fear, it can be doubt, it can be aggravation. It's those type of chemical responses is what you're speaking of, right?
Any type of chemical, really. It
Even
can
the happy and the sensual and the
mhm,
sexual, all that as far as the chemical response.
100% because again, through those happy chemicals, they still could be coming online because of programming.
Hmm.
Right. So if someone's in, love, you're having that honeymoon period and all those chemicals are coming through, right? And there's that magnetism. But this person may not be, the best person for you showing up, but still all these chemicals are being produced. It could be from programming, right? This person is falling in love and feeling all these magnetic sensations, but it also could be from a energetic abandonment, right? And finally feeling the closeness of somebody and having all those feelings. So there is a lot of duality and polarity around very pure frequencies like love, like joy. And ways to assess it is again, what type of chemical is it bringing out, because these joy and love, these fields are really pure. They're not co-creating in any type of matrix timeline if you're using it at its purest essence. Instead, when you're holding a pure field, it's really creating a no time, no space field. And so it wouldn't trigger someone so much.
That makes sense. That makes sense. So again, that's part of also what happens when we start identifying these chemical responses, and just by beginning to identify, they begin to release old distortions.
Yeah.
What's the next step beyond identifying? Because it's okay, I get it that I'm agitated, or I'm getting that a peak chemical response is arising within me. What's the following step afterwards?
The next step is just to get in your body and just take a minute and just, again, just be aware. Okay, I'm creating this chemical sensation. This chemical sensation, it's not really who you are. The physical body in its advanced potential knows it's just a pure field. The physical body in its highest essence wants to be a frequency of no time, no space. We're frequency beings. And so when we catch the chemical coming on, first steps is you just take yourself back and just see it for what it is. It's like, oh, okay, I'm creating a type of chemical. I just went in to somewhere in my identification through my mind and ego and essentially created a limited belief or a trigger that's already magnetically in me. So again, any type of chemical, it's easy just to catch it right away and know, okay, that's either a story that I'm telling myself, it's a conclusion that I came up with. Maybe it was something that it's co-created through the bloodline, but it's still not the truth of who this person is. Any type of chemical the body is making, we are so much more far advanced with what the biotechnology of this physical body is. And so, again, just addressing that, okay, I had this chemical sensation. What it means is you went outside of yourself and identified in something that's already a magnetic to the programming within the body already. So again, to that long-winded answer is you just gently catch it, you step back and you first realize, okay, that's not who I am. Step one. And another thing with that, though, with the physical body is humans have never held a frequency of their innate source long enough where it's become a stable field. And so, again, what's interesting about the chemical reaction itself is a lot of the time when we're having these chemicals from the different identities that we're co-creating in or seeing in the field and bringing back into our body that's already there is that, again, the neural pathways play a part in that of keeping us wired to these same frequencies because the body thinks it's unsafe. So the neural pathways are holding us in frequencies that the body knows to keep it in this safety pattern, whether it's healthy or not, right? Does that make sense to you, how the neural pathways play a part in this?
That makes total sense to me. My question for you then would be, how do we identify the emotions, the chemical responses that really are supportive, that really are constructive rather than all limitations? Because being human, we're going to have chemical responses.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. Because again, when we're holding a pure field in the body at its natural 0 point frequency, when you start learning to hold these innate frequencies that are dormant within the body's technology, it's easy to start assessing what is chemical and coming from a limited matrix behavior versus what is pure within you. Because again, the body is very intelligent. It already knows what a yes and no is beyond your programming. But when we're hitting these chemical obstacles, when we're first learning to shift gears in the physical body, because the physical body has different phases that it goes through as it's ascending. And so right now with humanity, when they're pulling in all this information through the DNA and it's coding in the body, it's coming from old programming. And so the body itself is creating these automatic behaviors, right? The body is just set up to create the different chemicals and so forth, but we're unconscious of it. We may know that we're making this chemical all the time, but we're letting our body and our mind and ego keep identifying in the same things that keep that co-creation of the chemical patterning or disease. And so when we start to learn how to harness frequency that is innate and natural to the body itself, which is that no space, no time frequency, that's the practice, John. That's what's going to start getting us there to level up. Because when you start holding these fields, they feel so good to the body itself. We're giving the body time to just again start doing its healing because it's not co-creating all these chemical responses and it's no longer expending so much energy on this over identification of programming within the body. So with us learning to harness and cultivate these higher frequencies that are already inside of us, that's what the practice is. And so again, if I was to be working with someone and looking at how they've been observing and patterning within the body themselves, thereafter, after I show them how we're going down the different frequencies from limited belief, then to the emotion, then to the chemical and where it's being felt in the body, I would guide them how to hold a field of a 0 point frequency to start like illuminating and lessening that frequency itself. And the more that you do that, you start shifting your body how to work in frequency and how to pattern in frequency instead of the body to be programming and patterning in our old identity from the magnetics of the programming of the body itself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's re-identifying, it's getting in a cohesive field. There's an empowerment through discernment that comes from knowing and understanding the difference and being able to create different outcomes because of that understanding as well. And that, of course, is going to shift the neural pathways. It's going to shift who and what we relate to. And it's going to release us against those self-betrayal, self-abandonment, codependent um, behaviors so that we can really attune into a truth that's more in alignment with us and being able to access more of that truth because that innate intelligence is becoming turned on. from the harmonic that we're choosing to be in instead of flooding it with history of how we've identified before. So it's powerful work. How is it by taking someone, what is it about hypnosis that you particularly like in working with the clients that show up for this type of work?
hmm Yeah, well, I've been teaching people for a long time how to ascend the physical body and its anatomy. And so with the clearings, it's a nice process to do the teachings and then to take people through the attunements of walking down how the body patterns and then going through the different areas and showing the vibrational pattern, right? When they're in that hypnosis state, they can actually feel the different types of densities that the chemicals are making because they're all different. Fear is going to feel different than, different levels of suffering than grief, right? Our different organs hold magnetics that, like, for example, the heart will hold a chest will hold grief, the kidneys will hold fear, liver. And so as I'm walking someone down through hypnosis, it gets really clear to them how the body patterns and holds information just like a quantum computer. And that's what I love about hypnosis is we really truly are like a full-on multi-dimensional computer, and we're not that complex. It's just that everything that we're identifying in currently, right, is coming from the programming that's already inside the body. And so sometimes when we're going into these looping patterns and so forth, it's just like you said, it's old information that's playing back and forth. And so with hypnosis, it gives me such ease and grace to teach people how to use this quantum computer within the physical body because it's so abstract to learn how to be frequency versus how we've been using our DNA to this point. Through DNA right now and how we're coding, we're always looking outside of ourselves for identification and pulling information in that's keeping the body dense from the programming. But within the other way of truly using this experienced, advanced vehicle that's waiting for us is co-creating in our source frequency that's dormant and igniting it. And so again, with the hypnosis, it's such an easier way for me to go in and just take someone through the whole process where they can start getting a better understanding of the anatomy and how it ascends and how everything is working together and holding dense fields, or how these dense fields can be really eradicated and
Hmm.
released slowly.
What do you see as a before and after with people that you take through these containers?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, as when I'm taking somebody in, usually before we go into the process, we do talking for about 30 minutes, and I'm just essentially seeing how they're coding through their identity from this lifetime. And then I'm very dimensional and sensory. I can start getting glimpses of what they're pulling in 2 generations back or past life. It gets very clear. From there, we're in coherence of what the dominant frequency is that's causing the most distress in the pattern because we peel like an onion, right? Emotionally. So I'll work with that deepest limited belief we find. And from there, there's still distress. There's a lot of grief behind it. There's a lot of sadness. There's a lot of subconscious emotions that they didn't even know they had. And so once we go through that talking process, I take them into theta state, I ground their body. And then once we're in a place where we're holding a pure scalar field within the body, essentially a 0 point frequency of neutrality, I'll walk them through all the dense frequencies one by one, going deeper, deeper within the physical body's layers of where it's being held. And what they're doing is they're tapping into it very gently, but letting it shake. They're letting it come up, or they're using their creation and seeing dust coming off cells, whatever it takes. But they're going in and feeling the resonance of these frequencies And that's the thing that I realize with the physical body. It just wants to be known. These really dense
Mm,
frequencies that we're all trying to stuff and hide
yeah,
away, they just want to be touched upon, and then it can start to release. And so
right.
I take the whole process down to the root and then start letting that come up. What were you going to say?
No, I completely agree. They want to be known. It's none of that can be denied. What's in us comes up for reconciliation. It has to. It's a part of us. So the way that you can see it in the way that it can be alchemized into a new consciousness, it can be alchemized into a new creation. It can be mined into gold from what you thought was sand and dust. And to understand the power of that should really make us excited about mining for that gold, about the treasures that they really hold, rather than trying to avoid it like we've been taught at all costs. So it's profound when you can touch on those layers. And again, there's different modalities. Some people do it with plant medicine. Some people do it with going into deep cathartic sessions. But to have the ability to go down into the root and retrain the body through the chemical response and understand that that's happening at that level just has the opportunity to take it to a whole nother threshold that's accessible to us because we're understanding more of the wholeness of what's available rather than going through different layers trying to find something at the end. When we understand what the end goal is, the path to get there becomes so much easier.
I love that. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's beautiful. And something that you brought to my attention when you were sharing is, you know, another thing that I do when I take someone down the paper trail, essentially, of that particular belief in all the multidimensional timelines it's holding, whether it's emotions and so forth. Once I get to the root, I'll bypass it and I'll go deeper and deeper, and they can feel it. And what I do is I get to a place of a foundation where I lock them directly into their body's intelligence.
Nice.
And from that space, we look up at all those frequencies. We walk down together. And then from there, I tell them they let it go. And then I go into the process actually for 60
Mm,
minutes. From there, I've seen enough where I know where all those agreements and contracts are being held in the body. And so then I just start going to town and releasing in that field for 60 minutes. And there's different layers I'll go in and eradicate in agreements. And some of that will be past life soul retrieval and so forth. So there's a lot that comes through in a hypnosis clearing. And I agree, there's so many modalities and, plant medicine will take you there. But what's so nice about this is you're just there, pure, in scalar
mm,
innate source frequency, moving through the process that it leaves them so much awareness of actually just being a part of it and how to hold scalar frequency. There's such memory later to just really hold the scalar frequency after the 3 days of integration. So it's much like a plant medicine ceremony, except in its essence, it's I'm not going to say more pure, but it's so nice when we can do the work ourselves just in the field and
mhm.
tap into these dormant frequencies that are waiting for us. Because again, for me, my inspiration is really advancing the technology of the body. So we don't need anything. We're just cultivating and harnessing this no space, no time frequency because the body ramps up. It gets so intelligent and genius, and it starts making its own energy where we don't need to expend anything anymore outside of ourselves. And so with the hypnosis clearing, what happens with people is they do go through a little purging, just like anything else, right? The integration process for 3 days. And what can that look like? Well, sometimes they might expel parasites, right? We hit some of those frequencies. Sometimes you might have a little bit of fatigue. Sometimes there's huge aha moments because we broke through to a place where you can start expanding and holding more of that multidimensional source that wants to come online. So there's different things that happen in this held field. And, for me, it works so well with how I train people in ascension and embodiment, with holding source frequency. But it just gives another layer to learn the abstract part of how to use the technology of this body that's waiting for us to advance potential.
Hmm. Amazing. So I want to get into your special offer and then we'll go to live questions and questions in the chat. If you all want to ask Shannon your personal question, raise your hand. I'll promote you guys to panelists. It's a great opportunity to do so. Um, and again, April or Chris, whoever is on, or both of y'all, will you put the link for the special offer in the chat box, please? Um, we want to go through that in a minute because the opportunity to work with Shannon, y'all, on a small group container and one-on-one, depending which package you choose, is a fantastic opportunity. Um, can you share like a highlight, like a pinnacle thing that happened for a client that this was the before and this was the after, that just like really stood out for you?
There's so many, really the biggest commentary that I usually get and like I said, there's so many profound shifts is when people go through the hypnosis sessions, they're like, okay, I finally have an innate knowing of myself that I've never had before.
Mm,
And so it's really taking you through that depth of understanding how DNA codes and creates frequency patterns and timelines within the body. And so we just go through that whole process step by step. And then when we're doing the release part, there's such a part of the creation because really it's we're the co-creators to release it. No one's going to do it for us. And the more creative you get with this stuff, the more profound the release is.
mm,
And so I hold that space for them, and give them all the tools, but I let them go to the place where they're ready to just acknowledge that hardwired, plugged in matrix frequency and then let it go. And this stuff it's not for the faint heart. Like this is deep stuff. We go into like deep rape patterns, it goes deep into really interesting stuff. But what happens when we eradicate and know what these fields are and how they're magnetized and co-creating timelines, again, like I said, the person has a profound essence that the true innate state is very whole and
mm,
that it's always been there inside them and they've never been separate from source ever. And then they find a path to, again, choose how they're going to make choice instead of in these really deep patterns of being victim or persecution and so forth.
amazing. Amazing. Just love what comes up with that. Bridget wrote in that she had a personal session with you and she was that you were very detailed. Shannon was very detailed and in depth. The stuff that Shannon cleared is gone, and I don't even think about it or react. As well as I feel my own awareness has really amplified. Highly recommended.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing, Bridget.
Yeah,
Uh,
thank you.
let's go to Donna. Donna, welcome to the call. It's good to see you.
Hi.
Good to see you. Hi, both of you. Um, I did a previous guest on the show. Actually, I purchased her package, and I did one of the webinars, and it was the healing of the witches. You know, the healers of the past, and so many
Mhm.
of us have that story. And it seems like I've uncovered, it's been revealed to me a lot of different forms that has taken over many lifetimes and also in my ancestry. Um, and so I'm feeling that there's a really big integration or processing or um, like I'm out of alignment today after doing it. And I was surprised. Like I thought, I know these stories and I don't feel like I'm bound by them, but I certainly, things keep coming up. So yeah, there's some deep roots in there. Um, and my question is under hypnosis, well, I think Bridget just answered that question. Um, because this was a group thing, we weren't being worked with individually, although it does get to us individually, but it wasn't our specific issues. So I wasn't being taught to feel that. I felt them in different parts of my body. I can tell you where they are right now. Um, but I wasn't guided on how to unravel them. And my question is, under hypnosis, um, is that a more direct, actual, one-on-one, my specific threads and weeds that you address?
My type of hypnosis is it's very intricate in all the detail that it goes into because I'm looking at how all of your DNA is coding and then where these different frequencies have migrated, created patterns. And I just know the physical body so well intuitively. I can see where all the stagnant energy is hanging in the lymph that's keeping the patterns dense and secured there. So I think the beautiful thing is what I'm picking up intuitively with you is you're going through integration process. So trust what you went through, just it excavated and opened the doors to where you're feeling the chemical persecution in the old timelines. And that's beautiful. You now have an awareness of where the body is co-creating on an automatic level where it's still unconscious and asleep. And really sometimes that's our process is as we're moving through our ascension, something gets ignited in that, and then you can figure out what tools next. Well, my hypnosis, like I said, is very detailed. And so when we come out of it, I'm going to have you guys, depending on what limited belief we're tapping into, which is usually probably going to be survival to start out. So it'll go to those different layers, but we're going to look at a lot of everything, the different discordant frequencies that the body's holding tied to that, the emotions, the chemicals that are tied to that. And so even though it's a group process, you're still going to be working through your body individually because I'm going to guide you how to shake out each of those frequencies personally. But it doesn't stop there. Once you do that, I'm going to get you guys to a state where I'm going to hook you back into the intelligence once we've looked at how many timelines you've brought into your body just from that limited belief. And from there, I let you guys rest and I go to work for 60 minutes and you're feeling everything that I'm doing. I'm calling off contracts, I'm calling off agreements, I'm, doing energetic needling around the meridians, opening up the lymph. You get a really full cleanse, clearing. So I think it's something that you would really love and enjoy. And most anybody that's done a hypnosis clearing with me will tell you it's a full ride. And like I said, it is, you go through 3 days of integration thereafter. And you have to be really gentle with yourself because even though I'm going in and uprooting and, I'm bringing in my body as different intelligent scalar fields to move out the density with you. But the next 3 days, it's the cells are still releasing. Right. And so you're still going to have a little bit of that. Maybe you're agitated, frustrated, and I don't know how soon you just did the,
Yesterday.
that's why. So again, the dust is kicked up, honey. So
Oh,
give
yeah.
yourself a few days to let it just really move through you, right? Because our bodies take time. The biotechnology is smart, but we've been programming it in all this reincarnation, lifetime. There's a lot to clear. So we just have to be gentle in the integration process. And then once you've integrated, then you'll know what's a yes and a no for you. But if you're in a spot of just like, things are happening, it's a maybe, just pause for a bit and let your attunements and whatever's going through you work itself through first. Is
Thank
that
you.
helpful?
It is very helpful.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mm. And I think that's a great reminder also because, again, there is a chemical response that's coming up. And to be aware of that and I don't think we have to figure out the chemical response right away. I think to allow it to flow through us, to recognize it as such without having to go, oh my God, I got to do something about it. Because again, that's the old program.
That's really
speaking
very
safety.
observant of you, John, because I do feel I was surprised by it. Like I always think I should be further along than I am.
Oh my
Like, oh,
God,
I'm
all of
doing this
us.
again. Haven't I done this already? How many layers of this are there? But apparently there are more layers, and I get around to reminding myself that I should be grateful for that if I'm still I, I want to
Not,
go. I want to go, go, go. I don't want to be
well,
healing all the
well,
time.
and yeah, grateful, but how about if we can be, it's like, wow, this is amazing. There's more.
It
It's like
is
I've already done that. It's like I
absolutely
wonder what's there and being in the curiosity of what's being created in that vortex because awe and wonder are amazing higher consciousness chemical
right. And
responses,
if
if you
there's more
will.
to release, then there's more space. And I already feel like it's so amazing what is available in the space that's created from every healing that if
Yeah.
it, instead of looking at it like, oh, it's another healing, it means more space. And
Well, we can look at it with the perspective, oh, more is being released, but we can also look at the perspective, more is waiting to be received.
yes,
And
absolutely.
what that does to the body for a physical response also, it's I think can be quite profound. Shannon, you were going to say something.
Well, what I was going to say, we always think we're not far enough ahead, but what I've realized is we all have a huge tool belt and we're all masters. And we're all speaking the same language right now, but it's the integration that's the most important. It's
Mhm.
just really integrating instead of consuming, is, give the biotechnology, the body needs time to catch up.
Yeah.
And so really again is the ascension can be playful, instead of making the ascension create a lot of ascension symptoms in the biotechnology itself, just give yourself time to catch up. And sometimes that's a month, sometimes that's a
Mhm.
year, what we need. We all know, but that's what I've realized with a lot of the people that I work with. I know everyone on this call here is in their mastery, but again, just give time for all the teachings to just connect and upgrade you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I was told 21 days. Isn't that funny? Not 20, not 22, 21 days before it's all in place. Thank you very much. Those were
Yeah,
very
no,
helpful.
beautiful share. Beautiful
Hi,
share.
Donna. Thank you. Shannon, let's go to your special offer. Everybody, click on the link in the chat box. Um, you find it highlighted in blue. You can also get to the special offer by going to beyondtheordinaryshow.com/marketplace. You'll find Shannon's picture on there and click on the special offer button. It'll take you there as well. If you're watching on the replay, it's just right underneath the video where you're watching also. And I'm going to share my screen here. Shannon,
You want me to go for it?
as you start going for it, yes.
Okay, so package A, what I'm doing for the month of June is I'm going to do 2 live group clearings. They're really about 90 minutes to 2 hours. So there's going to be a group clearing. Number one is June 1st. It's a Saturday at 11 a.m. PT. And the second one's going to be June 15th is going to be the second hypnosis clearing. So again, both those are about 90 minutes to 2 hours. And how I start off a group clearing is I'm going to just start doing some Q&A. I'm going to start seeing where you guys are all identifying from, observing from any type of chemical patterning, any type of distress, whatever's really coming up in momentum the last week for you. And from there, what I notice when groups come together, we're all working on the same stuff.
Mm,
It's pretty dominant of what the first belief is going to come up, whether it's, judgment of ourselves, others, self-doubt, survival, persecution, victimization. The big one's going to show itself. And
mm,
so once we are in agreement and all know exactly, you know, if we're going to walk down that frequency, then I take you guys into theta brainwave state. And so I have a process that I'm going to take you into, get you into that meditative state. And you'll want to be laying down. Sitting up is fine, but you definitely don't want to be driving while you're doing these processes.
Mm.
And so once I take you through that stage where I'm walking you conscious to subconscious through the different timelines, the different multidimensionality of frequencies you're holding within the body that's creating that discordant patterns, then what I'll do is I'm going to bypass the root and connect you guys into your source. And I'm going to let you look. You're going to look at all these different frequencies that we walk down. From there, we're going to just release that. And I'm going to go into my process. And there's many layers to the 60 minutes of what I'm going to be clearing from you guys. And I will discuss that each Saturday. So you'll have a very innate knowing of what I'll be doing each clearing. And then the 29th, I didn't want to just leave you guys with just doing clearings. I'm going to let you sit in the frequencies for the month. And then June 29th, I'm going to do an hour Q&A with you guys where you can talk about your shifts. You can ask about any questions of what I was doing, just allowing us to integrate together. So we have a full process through hypnosis. The package B includes all of A, the clearings and the integration, and then the package B adds a 45-minute with me.
Mm.
When you meet with me for 45 minutes, what I'm going to be doing is channeling and sitting with you to, again, trace how you're creating any type of patterning in your body. And for us, it'll be really clear. I'm going to be asking you a lot of questions, but I also, like I said, I'm multidimensionality when I do healing. So I can hear, I can see where your body's holding very stagnant information. Once we work through that, I'm going to take you into a scalar field to hold you in so we can start eradicating that pattern together. And so that's what the 45-minute session is. Is that helpful?
That's tremendously helpful, and it's a profound session. And what also happens in the way that you hold that, it creates a firm foundation. It's not like you create a foundation, then because you're not together, it's gone. You're actually entraining the field to maintain that state.
Yeah, and when you're in session with me, I'm giving you a lot of information of how our body's pattern and how DNA works. And so
Hmm.
you're getting a little bit of education, and then also I take you through the meditation clearing process. And the hypnosis is like that too. I will talk you guys through a bit about how the body works and, some of the ascended anatomy and so forth.
Wonderful. Y'all take advantage of this. This is a special offer with Shannon. We did an extra call this season so that Shannon could come on and share this. So I'm excited that it's being offered. Um, Again, the private session with Shannon is amazing. My last hypnosis session took me to some pretty deep places. I was so grateful. And the shifts that occurred afterwards, it's absolutely just spectacular
Thank you.
how we come back home to ourselves. And so in all of this also the chasing other things for validation or for accomplishment or for what we deem as success, and to be able to actually integrate within ourselves and truly embody that sovereignty. And you'll find an experience of what that sovereignty truly means by accessing within yourself. It's it's a game changer what's available when you get to that state of being. Um, and you find that your creations and co-creations come out of something that is very innate within you rather than trying to prove something that's outside of you. And again, I wish all of y'all that experience and so much more, because what you can create from there, the life you can live from being in that state of awareness of the intelligence of your mind, body, and spirit functioning as a whole. Um, I think it's what we've all been looking towards, but now we get to find it within ourselves. And then Shannon definitely has a capacity to help you and train to that state of being. So amazing opportunity. Package A is $147, y'all. Package B is $222, includes that 45-minute session with Shannon. Package A, you're still going to get that intimate time with Shannon also. You're going to go deep. You're going to be guided into a session without a doubt. And I'm excited for all of y'all who participate. So again, the link for the offer, it's in the chat box. Click on that link, add it to your shopping cart, and you can schedule sessions and prepare for the group sessions coming up here quickly. So again, the link's in the chat box. Shannon, let's continue with some Q&A of what's coming through. Oh my goodness, there's so much here that's coming through. Bridget, thank you for writing in. Pamela wants to know if procrastination is a common block.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very much so. Procrastination has many legs. So procrastination can also be feeling like there's not enough time. Procrastination really can come from a very deep, deep survival programming, right? Where the body just gets paralyzed and numb. And so the neural pathways are entrained again to keep you playing safe in that procrastination field when you get triggered. So
Mhm.
definitely, there's so many layers to procrastination that the body could be coding in timelines with.
Mhm. And discovering what they are and just getting, again, that's being aware, bringing to consciousness, realizing the chemical response, alchemizing to a different receptivity, and changing the coding, the DNA structure in it is what becomes available. Um, Amazing. Now, Linda, thank you for asking. So Linda's asking, Shannon, could you please clear any attachments? Well, hold on a second. Shannon, can you please maybe illuminate how Linda can clear any attachments that she still has with her husband who died very recently? She'd
Mm,
like to be clear of him so badly, and she wants to know how you can possibly help.
yeah, that one I understand very well. So sometimes what happens, Linda, is we need to, depending on how someone passes, we need to clear them and guide them and cross them over. So that's part of the process that I do when I see that someone's holding on to agreements and attachments of a beloved and so forth. And then we just go deeper. It's the deeper process is knowing how you're co-creating that's keeping this frequency of, just deep grief, within the physical body. So there's many things to look at how that pattern is being created. But the first thing that I would do is I would cross the beloved over so you're not feeling the energy so much in that the attachment anymore, because again, there's the astral has a lot of people that haven't crossed over, and our astral bodies are pretty porous for the way that we're using DNA in such a slow capacity. And so, with our astral bodies being so porous, a lot of different frequencies of attachment can get in. And so, I make sure that's part of my process of going in and extracting and cleaning up the fields. And so, I'll usually run source frequency in the astral frequency to start sealing up what was once porous. Once I start releasing the old matrix frequencies and so forth that are keeping attachment.
Hmm. Beautiful. Hope that helps you, Linda. I'm sure it will. Wonderful. And we've got Terry on live with us. Terry, would you like to unmute your microphone and ask Shannon your question?
Yes, thank you, John. My question is, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. How can belief in early infant experience affect hearing loss, or limitation? And from what I was hearing from Shannon, I was thinking it maybe was a safety loop program. Um, I was born prematurely and was in an incubator for 6 weeks. I, anyway, can you give me any clues that if this can be reversed or changed or removed?
Yeah, there's again, the biotechnology of the body is really sophisticated. And so when we unpack all the programming that's holding the dormant technology or frequencies within the ascended anatomy, when we start releasing those, your body can start healing. The body really likes to heal in a no space, no time um, field. And so going back to what you were saying is there was again, we've had a lot of past lives, right? We're in this reincarnation loop. And so with the reincarnation loop itself, there's a lot of carryover. So when we die, we don't just completely like, okay, that's done. If there's something that we didn't work through, there's carryover in frequency of a matrix belief. And then when we're in the womb, this particular time, we're programming in our mom's womb. We're picking up, right? We're multisensory, so we're already programming and picking up. But not only that, we're like the stuff I can pick up on is like 2 generations back of how we're holding all the information. So with what you're saying, yeah, there's a lot that I can tap into to see how you're programming your body to keep it safe and potentially maybe in survival mode or of whatever that is.
Mhm.
It's there was something else I was going to say about it, but I'll let you jump in, John, to see if it comes back.
Well, my question is, how important is it that we start excavating these roots? So with Terry, it's like, hey, I was born prematurely. Can this be contributing to that? Does that help to clear the field, or does it sometimes create more confusion, or is it a combination of both?
It helps to clear the field because, again, just knowing, right? It's like going into the body and feeling the dense frequencies. Once there's only so much programming in the matrix itself. The matrix has
Mhm.
an algorithm,
It's not
and
very original, is it?
yeah, no, and there's
Yeah.
there's only so many frequencies we can hold in these dense bodies. We're all essentially going through the same stuff. But
Hmm.
again, when we know the abstract of the intelligence of this body, where we can define what is a limitation versus the frequency and the spin state of the attachment within the body versus a pure field, it redefines everything. And
Hmm.
so this is one way where we can go in, we can see how the DNA is coding by how we're identifying, right? Because that looping pattern of the identification goes on and on and on and on and on. And so once a person is aware of that and then can actually tap into that slow vibrating frequency that's host in the body, it starts shifting everything because it's like when you're holding these higher fields and knowing that you don't want to go there anymore. And
Hmm.
then you have time to practice where you'll be able to start shifting the neural pathways because they're not going to want a pattern to keep you safe anymore. They're going to want a pattern where you're holding more frequency that's pure, the more that
Hmm.
you practice and shift out of this.
And I see kind of I see the hypnosis. I see the image of putting the mind and the subconscious in a state of just suspension.
Yeah.
In that state
Hmm.
of suspension, it can actually leap over into what else is possible instead of having to carry the weight of everything forward into another place. Not that it doesn't come through, but again, you as me as the person doesn't have to do the heavy lifting of that shift. It can actually, it's kind of like the levers in a Panama Canal. Let the energy rise, and then the clear passage kind of happens because those mechanisms are in place to facilitate the passage.
Well, I love that you said that because you there's a huge point there is our mind and ego and intellect aren't our consciousness. The
Mhm.
physical body is the consciousness. And so that's what's so beautiful about hypnosis is we've never learned to truly drive this physical body the way it's meant to in frequency. And so again, the intelligence is within the physical body and it has all this ascended anatomy that's waiting to come online. But we've come into this third dimension thinking our mind and ego and intellect are our consciousness. It's not. The mind and ego is a wild horse That's, you
Mm.
know, trying to identify anything from your programming. And
Mhm.
that's what creates the loop.
Right. Amazing. Terry, did Shannon answer your question? Did you need more clarity around it?
No, I think that was very good. Thank you. I
Okay.
appreciate it.
Of
Thank you.
course. Yeah,
Thank
thanks for
you.
coming on. Um, so Jen, package B, you'll get a link to schedule your one-on-one session. There's no preset dates because it is a one-on-one session with you. So you go on the calendar, find a date that's open and time that's open on Shannon's calendar. She's very generous with those. So, you know, the sooner you want to sign up, I bet you the sooner that you can probably get on the calendar or find something that's appropriate for you. The dates for the group sessions are right there listed in the special offer. If you just scroll down, they're really obvious on there, and you'll be able to schedule them on your calendar. Show up if you can't show up. Of course, the recordings will be sent out to you, but definitely show up. Why wouldn't you to participate in this? Um, and again, the beautiful part is that on these calls, and again, I just freaking love the consciousness that we live in because how many times over and over and over again in 11 years of me doing this that the questions that get asked live seem to help the group in so many ways. It's really so miraculous. And I'm in const we tend to take it for granted sometimes, but when we stop and pause and really feel into it, it's absolutely amazing the telepathic intelligence that we're all navigating in similar ways and how we're helping each other rise into that authenticity where we're leaving behind the programming, the codependence, the safety mechanisms to really develop into a newness for us to experience. But really, it's the original blueprints of how we're really here to function. And Shannon is just so adept at bringing us back to turning on the wires of those blueprints so that you can really live in a way that feels prosperous to you. Again, not from the history, but from truly what's possible in those encodements that you're activating through these awarenesses. So amazing. So yeah, be aware of the sessions there. Um, there's a question that came in. Um, Aaron, I wanted to ask your question because this is so good. Um, Give me a second. Let me find it here. Other than your wowzer comment, Aaron, which is amazing. Um, I wanted to find it because I wanted to get to it. Donna was asking how long a session is. We covered that it's 45 minutes, Donna. And I know that Shannon can get very generous if something isn't quite going through, that it's going to the process will be facilitated for you. That I know from working with Shannon. Um, I couldn't find Aaron's question. Someone's asking if your process is similar to Dolores Cannon. Um, I don't have a concept for Dolores's full process, but if you want to answer that, that's great.
I know nothing about Dolores.
So it has no basis. I know Dolores goes into past lives and clearing from that field. But it's yeah, no. If it were Dolores Cannon's work, we'd have someone who's carrying forward that certification and them talking about it. So it's again, I can tell you that this is quite a unique experience. And I love that you've melded all these different um I don't want to call them modalities, all these different experiences that you have delved into to really bring something that is very honed and effective because we don't have to go through all these different avenues. It's very direct in what you're teaching.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, it's definitely I took the best from the best of all my teachings, and they were very thoughtfully explored and taken to another level. And
Mm.
so I'm pretty proud of where this hypnosis clearing is taking me and showing me, because I'm just the conduit, but it's really beautiful of really how logical it is. It may seem abstract, but it's not. It's like, I've been able to really take time understanding the biotechnology of the body and how the DNA works and how everything programs. And so with that, the thoughtfulness of applying hypnosis to it and how I do it, it just keeps showing me how to do it more efficiently, and to bring more consciousness behind frequencies that people are ready to hold. So it's, even for me, it's profound, but I love it. And at some point I hope to teach it someday too.
Well, Nancy was asking just specifically that does Shannon do training for therapists?
I I've been slowly pulling it together. But I do train. Like, I've been teaching how to embody and ascend the physical anatomy for like 3 years straight now. I haven't stopped. So I still teach on that level of mastery of how the body technology works and how to hone and harness frequencies that are of intelligence that are dormant inside you.
Yeah. Well, if y'all are interested in training with Shannon, y'all email her. And maybe there's a container that wants to be set up that's just a win-win for everybody. What's your email address, or what's your website, Shannon, where people can find you?
ShannonPardini.com.
Oh my God, it's so complicated.
I know,
Uh,
right?
ShannonPardini.com. If y'all are really interested in that, reach out, and you may just encourage Shannon to bring something out that's going to facilitate so many more people, which would be wonderful. Linda's asking, and y'all, again, the special offer to go deep with Shannon by even experiencing the session, what you accumulate through it by going through the sessions, the group, and then going through individual, the understanding and the embodiment of that could also trigger something for you, Nancy, that inspires you to synthesize the information that you're teaching with what you experiences here into a new creation for yourself also. So it's, I know we're all open to those possibilities. And of course, when we do it responsibly, understanding what we're really diving into and how we're facilitating others, that's when the wisdom can really seep through so that we can show up best for what's possible in the highest for everybody involved. Um, Y'all, again, the sessions with Shannon, the links in the special offer link is in the webinar chat as I'm reading the webinar chat right now. Y'all click on that, open it up 147 for the group sessions. The group sessions plus your 45-minute session is $222. And there it is in the chat box. Linda's asking if you have any suggestions for nurturing and supporting all the evolution coming forth within us at this time, within our physical, mental, and emotional body. I try to celebrate each step, but would like to expand and honor each step as it unfolds in its best way. Um, I like to celebrate it too, and sometimes I curse a lot of the steps also along the way, but it's okay. Um, but yeah, what suggestions would you have for that nurturance?
I think truly where we are in mastery in how the DNA is unfolding for each and every one of us, within yourself, nothing is outside of you. You guys are the creators. Nothing is outside. And so, really, there's no reason for us to expend energy or overthink or even identify outside of ourselves. And so, knowing what you truly are in the purest innate frequency of your soul is celebration enough. And you're here, and you guys are the greatest creators. And if you start going in and tapping in to that innate frequency without identifying it and letting it show you, that's going to be your biggest celebration ever, because that's your pure genius already knows everything within you in that space. And so that's where I would say is there's no room for matrix frequencies. We can unhook from all that discordant
Mhm.
programming. Instead, start cultivating these intelligent frequencies in your body that want to show you, you know, where you can truly ignite in that innate soul frequency. Because again, as we unpack and unload all this old programming, right? Again, the matrix is an algorithm. We've programmed our physical body to this point to be a matrix body. That's it. But if we unzip that skin suit and programming and toss it, you are this intelligent scalar frequency or frequency that has so much consciousness within it. And so, again, celebrate that you guys are there. You know, you are there. We are doing the deep dive to excavate and to release these last, you know, frequencies that we all know too well. So
Mm.
again, I would just say celebrate where you're at. The ascension is not for the faint-hearted, and we're all here stepping up to do it. And every time we do, each and every one of us is shifting the agreements and the contracts in the timelines we're co-creating as a collective consciousness.
Mm.
We're truly here doing it. And so again, thank you, you know.
Yeah, amazing. And it's with that, y'all dive in deeper with Shannon. Again, the special offers there. You can email Shannon if you really want to go into a deeper container about maybe being trained in this, which I think would be amazing. That's why I'm encouraging it right now. Shannon, just for clarification's sake, for anybody who's listening to the replay or doesn't have context, can you explain what you mean by scalar energies, that we are those scalar energies?
Yeah, I know everyone is like, what? What's scalar? So
Not everybody, but some, yeah.
scalar is in my world, scalar is a frequency that can be measured. And the scalar frequencies that I'm talking about, inside each and every one of us, we have a dormant source frequency. In our source frequency, let's just say 0 point, right? A neutral 0 point state. When your physical body is holding that scalar field, one, you're taking yourself into a 0 point. Well, how are you're holding that field inside of you, so you're not using your DNA to go in and identify in outside programming. When you're holding a 0 point scalar frequency, it has intelligence. You're holding a frequency where you're unhooking from the matrix algorithm one. You're not co-creating in a pattern or timeline within the body through an identity or observation. Instead, you are choosing to hold this frequency of intelligence, but the body loves it. It
Hmm.
starts creating a faster spin state in the body because we were always meant to be pure frequency beings. So again, scalar frequency to me is a measurable frequency that holds intelligence.
Hmm. Beautiful. Thank you for that explanation. Amazing, y'all. Um, Linda says, wow, thank you so much for that response. It felt so natural and yet so expansive at the same time. Wait till you go into session and into group with Shannon. Yeah, you'll feel that and so much more. Um, Shannon, it's been such a wonderful call.
Thank you.
And I love that you're explaining it, and it's your patience with me and going back and explaining and really explaining, because I really want to make sure um, that this lands as best as possible, because there's such new terminology and languaging, and it would seem very intellectual, but it goes beyond that when we stop trying to figure it out and allow our intelligence to let it land. It has this descending quality to it, which we can receive, and the dissension from it. And from that, it can be so expansive. And from that receptivity, the surrender into what's possible beyond what our history has dictated to create new becomes quite profound. So I appreciate the way that you hold the space for the understanding to see it through, for it to land within the physical, and for it to change or potentially be alchemized into something completely different than what's been experienced before.
Thank you. Yeah, I
Amazing.
appreciate that. It's so important for me in this lifetime as as a creator to I want people to be able to know the truth of of how pure we are, really. Again,
Mm,
that we can activate this dormant technology within the physical body. We have so much expansion to move within this quantum technology. And so it's so cool that I can even just talk about it, and that we all want to go there and just, like you said, keep exploring. And words will never define how brilliant this is. And so I just keep bringing in words and redefining them of my experience of the frequency itself. But like I said, words could never give, meaning to the most precious innate technology that we hold, that is so expansive. And, I hope that we all can realize that nothing is outside of ourselves. The ascension and embodiment is all within.
Beautiful. All right, y'all, go deeper with Shannon. There's the special offer. The link's in the chat box. Click on it now before we end the call so that you don't lose it. We'll send out the link for it later in the replay as well. And you can always access replays at beyondtheordinaryshow.com/replay. Shannon, thank you. It's been wonderful having you on again.
Thank you. Appreciate you, John. Love you so much, and your family here. Everyone here, thank you. Appreciate your time. And yeah, just excited.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you all for being on the call today, for your participation, for your curiosity into what else is possible, and for choosing to step it up because you can. It's innate within you. You know it. And so what else is possible? How exciting. Blessings to you all. I love you. I bow to you and namaste. And I look forward to seeing y'all on the next call. Bye, y'all.